When I was in college, I made a list. This is the list. And on this list are 5 to 7 different income streams that could make being a full-time artist a reality. At the time, I was a STEM major. I wasn't thinking that being a full-time artist would actually happen. It was just kind of like a passing daydream. And I just like stuck it up on my wall and like never really thought twice about it again. I made the list back in 2018. In 2021, I found the list again. At that point, I had moved twice. I was in a completely different state. I had gone through graduation, a global pandemic, a civil rights reawakening, and I had completely forgot about the list. But there I was, a full-time artist, looking at this list, and it was this moment of like, holy shit, I predicted my future. Well, kind of, and not really. And as I went down the list for the first time, I went like list item by item, and I was like, okay, check, yep. Okay, number 2, check, yep. You would think it would be like, oh my gosh, wow, this is happening. I mean, it was a little freaky at first, but immediately after I got over the freakiness factor, which I'm psychic, we're not gonna get into it, but I am. So consider this public piece of evidence number 1. But anyways, I was looking at the list and I had this moment of, okay, but what now? And it was this moment of like waking up and realizing that I didn't have any goals. Like I didn't have anything that I was working towards. And it's okay to have moments and time periods of your life where you're resting and just taking life on as it comes, which I think so many of us have been in that mode for so long. But for me, as someone who's really goal-driven, a go-getter in a way, and that's always been what's motivated me. And then once I realized that I had no goals or ambitions, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like, well, how do I even like go about finding goals? Because all my life I've been told what to do and like given rubrics and given tests and been like, okay, on to 10th grade, on to 11th, then you go to college, then you do this. And then all of a sudden I was left with like, okay, what now? So I'm gonna share kind of like the game plan that I went about. I'm not sure if this works for everybody, but it worked for me a little bit, and I think that it could help other people out there who might be feeling the same way, who might be feeling like, especially at the beginning of a new year where everyone's like setting goals and like, this is my resolution and this is my resolution, and you're looking around and you're like, I have no idea what's going on, I'm lost. So I'm gonna share what I did, and I hope that that helps. First thing I did was I took a step back and I kind of looked at what I was doing in my life, where I was in life, and kind of just like took time to take stock of like what was actually going on with me and my life. And I kind of did like a Marie Kondo where it's like, what is bringing me joy and what is not? Like, what do I enjoy about what I'm doing and what do I not enjoy? And in my case, I'm an artist, I'm full-time. If you want to know the story, I have a full podcast episode onto how I got from being a STEM major in college to being an artist now. There were many elements of what I was doing that I really liked. For example, creating, being creative, using bright colors and designing and painting and making things with my hands, I absolutely loved. But I found out that for me personally, the way I was sharing and presenting that creative work online just wasn't quite doing it for me anymore and was actually serving as a detriment a lot of the times. So I knew after a few weeks of like reflecting and figuring out what it really was that I enjoyed and what it really was that I didn't enjoy, that something had to change. So I realized the things that I personally wanted to change about my creative practice, about my job, about being an artist and like sharing my work online. And I realized what I wanted to keep, what I didn't want to keep. And once I knew what I didn't want to keep, I knew kind of which direction to start moving in, even though it was slightly terrifying and very scary. I was like, okay, I know I need to do this, so how do I go about doing this in the way that's best for me? Step 2 is listen, and I feel like this goes hand in hand with step 1, but once I realized I had to make a change, it was really figuring out, okay, what do I actually do? Like, what do I actually think will be best for me? And that took a while. Like, it took a few months for me to be able to figure out like what would be the best course of action, POA, plan of action, for this change that I wanted to do. And for me, artistically, it was like completely changing my style and the subject matter. And when I think a lot of people are faced with change, our heads know before our hearts, or our hearts know, something knows before the other, and it's hard to actually take that step to change. And I think just knowing that you have to make that change and accepting it in every place of you that you need to change is a really great step, because it's not always possible to make the change right away. You're not always able to like actually physically do what you want to do. And once I realized my fears, like figuring out what those fears were, it was very easy to make the change, because my fears were that everyone would hate what I was doing and be mean to me, which is like basically caring about what other people think. And number two, kind of goes hand in hand with that, was that all of it would go away and I would maybe have to go back to school or get a 9-to-5. And I was like, you know what? I would take both of those things any day than continuing on my current course. So I will make the change that needs to be changed for me. So it made it pretty simple. I just know myself, which is all we as people, all we ever know. And a lot of the times we don't even know ourselves, which is why you need to listen. Listen to what you are telling yourself and what you need. Sometimes I crave avocados and I'm like, what? Why am I craving an avocado? But I eat the avocado and I think it's because my body needs what's in avocados. You want to change your artistic style. You don't like what you're currently doing. Change your artistic style. It's not always easy, it's not always simple, but once you know what you need to do, I think it makes the peace inside a lot better, or a lot easier to deal with personally. So I wish there were 3 steps, but I got 4. Step 3 is make it up. Just make something up. Make up a project, make up a goal. It doesn't have to be the big end goal. It can just be something. For me, I was at this period where I hadn't painted in 3 months, and so I just needed to make a painting. And so I made a painting. And that painting kick-started everything. So words have been added. I really like it. My mom was the only one that was like, leave them without words. I like it. It's 12 by 12. It's hard to show scale, but there's a cup. 12 by 12. I like it. It's fun to make art that doesn't mean anything, because so much of my work is it takes a lot. It's icky. So it's fun to make stuff that doesn't really mean anything. So I'm going to keep doing that. Let me know your thoughts on the words though. I like them. And I know, again, that's not how it goes for everybody, but this step cycle is meant to be rinsed and repeated as many times as necessary. Make something up, make up a project, make up a goal, try something new, try a 30-day challenge if you're up for it. Don't do a 30-day challenge if you're not up for it. That's a whole nother rant. We won't even go into it. But if you're up for a 30-day challenge, try something that you've been wanting to try. Maybe you've been wanting to try pottery. Maybe you've been wanting to try to learn how to make better videos. I don't know. Just try something new. And I think especially when you're looking for goals or a next step, it's really important to go back to being a kid and playing around and just having fun, using your fingers and do finger painting. I don't know, something fun. And so that's what I did. I kind of was just I'm just gonna make a painting. It's not gonna be anything in particular. It's just going to be a painting. And that kind of just honestly just solved all my problems. Not really, but step 4, and this is what I feel like my whole past year has been. This apartment that I'm sitting in right now, I was supposed to be in for 2 to 3 months. And in 2 months, I will be here for a year, and that's for sure. And I still don't know if after those 2 months I'm going to be moving out, which makes this the apartment that I will, or the place, the home, the dwelling that I will have lived in the longest for the past 6 years when it was meant to be the shortest. I'm lucky that I had this mindset kind of going into this place, but I still recently have caught myself with these inhibitions and these limits on me being here. And step 4 is to embrace limbo. Limbo is a place that we find ourselves in when you're moving from apartment to apartment, job to job, relationship to relationship, creative style to creative style, creative project to creative project. There's this point of limbo. And I think in general, we as people, especially creative people, just try to jump through that. When we're, especially with projects, you try to just okay, next painting, next video, next whatever. But I also think that when you find yourself hesitant to jump to the next place, instead of forcing it, embrace the limbo. Embrace being in the in-between state, because I think there's beauty in those in-between places, because in those in-between places are where we change. If we just went from one thing to the next, there would be no time to reflect, to listen, to make things up, to try new things. And I think limbo is the perfect place for all of that stuff to happen and for you to learn and grow as a person. Embrace the fact that you don't have goals right now, because the goals will come. And I think that it's okay to not have them, and it's okay to not know what you're gonna do next. But I think use that time to learn more about yourself, listen to yourself. What do you need? What do you not need? What's bringing you down in many ways, and what's lifting you up? Who is lifting you up? Who's bringing you down? Once I made that painting, a lot of things clicked for me, and I started making my collections, which I talked about in my podcast episode number 2, I think. Anyways, the collections have been like everything that I think I was missing in my practice in 2020 and 2021. Like everything that was missing has come to like fruition, and the collections have allowed this time and place for me to be in limbo and to experiment and to try different things and to not stick with one thing or the other, and it's been super fun. But I never would have gotten there if I hadn't decided to make my change, I hadn't listened to what I needed to do, if I hadn't just tried something new and just had fun and made something up, made up the project, which was the collections. And now I feel like I still have no idea what I'm doing. I don't think that's ever going to change. You've been watching me put together my collection from beginning to end, hopefully, and watching some painting. I don't intend this to be like a, here is the answer, and now you have a goal. It's kind of like a, here are the beginning steps. And I'd love to know if this helps you. I'd love to know if you are in any of these stages right now, or if you're currently in a state of limbo. Like, yeah, I have some fun things that I'm working on. I came out with my first punch needle kits. If you don't know, I do a bunch of different art things, as well as painting. I've recently gotten very into punch needling. I have some videos on that as well. And I'm planning on making some more, but I also have kits, which I'm really excited about. And I might be starting like a new series, like, I don't know, but I'm really excited and I'm having fun. So I hope this helps. I hope you're having a great start to your new year. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I won't see any of you because I just live in my house with my cat and I talk to this camera by myself and hope my neighbors don't hear me. But you'll see me somewhere on the internet, hopefully. And I hope you're okay. That's it. I'm gonna keep repeating myself. So bye. Okay. Bye. I need to stop doing that. I keep gyrating for no reason.